Full spoilers for Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. This is the new Disney Plus movie. Check it out now.
Look at the mouth. Audio listeners, Sonic's mouth.
So yeah, full spoilers. You have been warned. What do we think about Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers? I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry.
I had a really good time.
Overall, I enjoy it.
This movie free guide me.
Mm-hmm. It Ready Player One you, Ben, is actually what it did.
No. I mean, it free guide me thinking I was not going to enjoy this movie at all. And then when I watched it, it became one of my favorite movies thus far.
Nice.
Oh, you were done. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I really like this. It's a lot of fun. I think that the script is solid. It's got some good jokes. Yeah, I think it's a good movie.
I'm just gonna throw it out of the way because I've already talked about it all the time in the trailers, and I'm gonna talk about it one last time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I hate the CGI cell shaded to look like 2D on Chip. I think it looks bad.
Yep.
I think it looks bad the entire time. I don't once think it looks good. I think it's always bad. I think it's also a problem with Peter Pan. I think they both look like garbage.
I think Peter even looks worse.
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes his proportions on his face get screwed up. Like, I don't like it. I think it looks bad. I don't blame the movie. I blame that they didn't get the budget or the time investment to actually do 2D animation because Disney doesn't care enough to invest in 2D animation.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to CGI them rotoscope them in and then cell shade them to look like 2D, and it looks bad. And it's unfortunate because it's like a main point of the film that one of them should be 2D and one of them should look like CG. And I think that would look so much cooler comparatively if you had really nice CG next to really nice 2D, but you don't. You have really nice CG next to bad CG trying to look like 2D, and it just sucks. I don't like it. I wish it looked better. I have seen so many people on Twitter take screen grabs and turn Chip into the 2D, and I'm like, wow, that looks incredible. If this were real hand-drawn 2D, this would look incredible. I think it's all the more poignant because there are other characters in the film that appear, because they appear briefly, they are actually drawn in 2D, and it's all the more prominent of how bad Chip looks by comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Good example is Roger Rabbit is in a cameo. He's actually drawn by the person who created him, came in and drew him in 2D for the film. It looks great. It sucks. It sucks that's the case. Don't blame the people who made the movie. It's just what it is, and it looks bad.
Yeah, I am not nearly the stickler that my friend animated Sparkz here is, but I do agree. Like, there's one specific shot of Peter Pan, where he's opening a locker, and that just looks like a dude opening a locker with like the rotoscope on him. I'm like, that's just like a dude. Like, that would like the most least effort I've ever seen in my life. But like, much like She-Hulk conversation, the story itself and everything won me over enough. Yeah. But like, I if this wasn't a streaming movie, I'm sure it'd look better. But yeah, like they didn't want to give this movie money, and this movie needed money. It really needed the money to do what it really wanted to do. Luckily, most of it, I think, is so much of it works.
Yeah,
but
even one of my favorite cameos in the movie, He-Man and Skeletor, they look like they did back in the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah, and I do agree.
Tigra.
Tigra. When I was watching this movie, I do agree. I wasn't the biggest fan of Chip's. Like, pretty much all the Rescue Rangers outside of Dale, because they all have that 3D, like that rotoscope animation style. I wasn't a big fan of it. But at the same time, all the other stuff as the movie was going on, I was just like, okay, I still don't like the way how Chip, Monty, Gadget, and Zipper look. But as I was going through the film, I was like, man, this movie
they dronkied. My God, they dronkied us in this movie.
Oh yeah, Dragon Donkey. Oh yeah.
When they revealed that Gadget and Zip had children.
Mm-hmm.
I said that during our training. Yeah. I was like, look at them.
I think I agree very strong. Like, I think I just could have like accepted and been like, yeah, it is what it is with Chip. It's the fact that it's Pan too. Pan looks the worst. He looks really terrible. Yeah. Peter Pan looks just bad. That's a bummer. It's just a bummer. It's just a bummer because like the script deserved more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. Interesting. Couple of notes I want to bring up about the Rescue Rangers. So the entire original cast of the Rescue Rangers is in this movie.
Yeah.
Except Jim Cummings, who was Winnie the Pooh and Tigger in this movie, and Darkwing Duck, does not return for Monty. Neither does Peter Cullen, who was also Monty in the original Rescue Rangers. Instead, it's Eric Bana.
Yeah, I knew that. I saw that before.
Yeah,
very
Eric
strange.
Bana. That is interesting, especially because Jim Cummings' voice can still be heard as Fat Cat in this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. He is also Fat Cat in this movie.
Yeah.
It's because Tress MacNeille is Gadget, and that's interesting. That's because that's her. But then you got the Allstate guy being Zipper. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and Gadget is also the voice of high pitched Dale.
Mm-hmm.
So so when they go high pitched, when Chip and Dale go high pitched like the voice in the show, it is their voices from the show.
Yeah.
The thing I want to say, the thing that I like most about this movie is before I saw the trailer and like, oh, we're making another Chip and Dale's movie or whatever, I thought it was going to be a Smurf and Alvin and the Chipmunks, so like, a Yogi Bear or whatever. It's going to be one of those kind of shit it out for kids kind of things, right? The second I heard it was Andy Samberg and Jorma Kaukonen and all these guys who worked on The Lonely Island and Hot Rod and Popstar, these movies I love, I had a little more faith. Then I saw the trailer and I'm like, this is just Popstar for animated movies. And when Popstar is about an aging musician trying to be relevant, I was hooked the first 2 minutes of the movie because I'm like, oh, they're doing the thing they've done before, but with cartoons. It's incredible. The pulls that they got for this movie are really interesting and fun because half of them, kids aren't going to know who these people are. You guys don't know who some of these people are. Like Tigra from the 90s cartoon, like I barely know who that is because I made myself watch that show because I was on Disney Plus. But like, it's so interesting that this actually felt like people are calling this like the worst movie of the year, and I'm not seeing that. I understand where your cynicism comes in, where like Ready Player One did this thing, and it's doing this thing with so many characters. But like, I think it's doing something really clever, and it's also trying to say something in like the most PG Disney way that it can. Of like, people get forgotten in Hollywood, and it's not good. But this is also a kids movie, and I think it's trying to do something that Disney normally wouldn't make, and I think it's pretty cool for doing that.
What I love about this movie so much is that it feels like it's Roger Rabbit 2.0. Like Toons and humans.
Did you catch Dip is in this movie?
Yes, I did catch that. So one of the things the thing that I love about this movie is that it does feel like it's Roger Rabbit 2.0, and it's like Toons and humans and CGI characters, they all live together in the modern day. Toons they work. I love Putty. I love J.K. Simmons, Captain Putty, and the way they animate him as the stop motion. I thought that was hilarious. I just love the way they worked it, and I just love how they just don't. It's like, look, you can either roll with it or you don't. It's like if you could roll with Roger Rabbit, you could roll with this movie, and
I really want to know what the conversation was. I can understand a lot of these references. Hey, there's a Transformer in here. Hey, can we put a Transformer in the back of the movie? Okay. Hey, can we have Sonic? Sure. No. Not that one. We want the one you didn't use.
Mm-hmm.
We want that one. Can you imagine that conversation?
So
I'm really mad that TikTok spoiled that for me because the second I saw it, I was like, oh shit.
There was unfortunate, like, it's not like a Marvel movie, so like I got spoiled from the cameos, but like I wasn't. It just made me more excited to watch the movie.
Sure.
The thing with Ugly Sonic, and I don't know if this is true, but I read a Twitter thread, because they didn't use this design. It's technically not the Sonic's design, so this is parody. They can use this legally as parody because it's not Sonic, it's Ugly Sonic, and it's not a design they used in a movies. It was discarded, so there's a weird legality that the Lonely Island guys swooped in on, and nobody told them no. So if that's true or not, I don't know, but I think that story is awesome. They went for it because like this is a relatively new thing. This is like 2 years old.
Yeah.
And this script for this movie was written years ago. Like they've been trying to get this movie made for a long time.
7 years.
Yeah,
7 years.
You keep saying it's the Lonely Island guys, but it's also the people who created Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which is a great show. He like the husband of Rachel Bloom, who's in this movie. Wrote the script years ago and like partnered with the Lonely Island guys to like get this thing made, and finally like Disney gave him the go ahead for Disney Plus. He got two great talents, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Lonely Island, coming together to make a pretty great movie.
Yeah. I do think the script is good. I think it's really funny. It is one of those movies where like it's not going to be as funny in 10 years because it's a lot of like modern humor, and like Ugly Sonic is not going to be as funny in 10 years as it is right now, right? That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But in the moment, I think it's really clever, and I think it's really funny. And like, is this the Chippendale from the cartoons that you guys? I didn't watch Chippendale. Is this those characters? No, it's Andy Samberg and it's John Mulaney.
I think also like your mileage with how good the film is how much you understand the film, like how much you are invested in the animated references. That it's doing.
It is reference
and
heavy.
and not to diss the film, but like the script relies on that. The script relies on you being aware enough to engage with the material. Like you don't need to get every reference, but you do need to get a lot of them to get the full enjoyment out of this film.
That's true.
Like the script is like all right. But because of like all the pulls they get to do, it ends up being like really, really entertaining.
There's in this movie, we saw it in the trailer, but it's Seth Rogen's Viking Beowulf character,
Bob.
It is real, and then you get Pumbaa.
Pumbaa.
But then in the movie is not just Kung Fu Panda, but Monsters vs. Aliens.
I love that. It's all of Seth
What a
Rogen
pull.
thing. It's like the second we saw the mantis, I was like, oh, they got that. And then we see the alien, I was like, that's just so
well,
that's hilarious. I thought
once you get one, you can get the other because it's the same studio that you're negotiating with.
Ben, I know you must have had a reaction when you saw someone's hair in a bag.
Not only did I see his hair, his
Sora.
keyblade was up in the bag too. Fanny pointed that out to me, and I was screaming. It's like, what the hell did they do to Sora? What did they do, those sons of bitches? I will save you, my boy. I will save you, my boy. I will come get you.
He got bootleg.
They reference two of Ben's favorite things, Sonic and Sora.
Yeah,
truly could not have anticipated Ugly Sonic being so integral to the plot.
No, for real.
The savior of the show at the end.
I did not expect so many non-Disney appearances.
Yeah, it's really like
you get Randy Marsh.
You got a South Park character. That's
how.
That's what I want to know.
Senator Butthead.
Yeah, but running for Senate. Yeah.
You talked about He-Man and Skeletor.
Yeah. He-Man and Skeletor are signing autographs in the con together.
Also,
the original voice actors.
Yeah, the original voice actors.
Some of those are slightly more understandable to me because they're older IP, and I'm like, sure. But like Randy Marsh, that's still being used in South Park appearing in this, I'm like, that's wild.
That is absolutely like, again, like if this were just like a straight Disney movie, like none of these would be in there. It's because he had like these cool comedians. Like, we're trying to make this fun Disney movie. Can we have a South Park character? Like, sure, why not?
I want to. I don't know, because you were talking about a parody earlier. Because I did see like a quick little clip on how they were able to use Ugly Sonic in this movie without Paramount or Sega's permission. Is like they tweaked Ugly Sonic a little bit, like they gave him a bit of a gut. They redid his design just a tiny little bit. Essentially, they bootlegged him without technically bootlegging him.
You'll notice his ears don't have the white on the inside; they're all blue.
Yeah.
They did their own movie in their own movie.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's still close enough that you know who it is, and it's the fact that he recognizes and he acknowledges the real Sonic. It's like, oh no, going fast, that's Sonic's deal. Ugly Sonic goes slow. It's like, oh my god, this is so good.
And it's voiced by Tim Robinson, who is a just truly hilarious comedian. You should watch. I think you should leave on Netflix. It's a sketch comedy show. Great pick for Ugly Sonic.
I love the fixation on his human teeth.
The zoom ins. It's too much.
That was the biggest thing from the internet when it came out. It's like, oh my god, Sonic has human teeth. This is weird. And
you get the CGI cats from Cats. We've talked about them before.
Okay, I love
animation pools.
I love the Uncanny Valley.
Yeah,
I love that joke. Because it's like, it's an animation style in the early 2000s where it seemed real, but it didn't. And then you see Bob and he's staring straight ahead. He's like, no, I'm looking right at you.
So interestingly, they got a lot of the original voice actors for a lot of these properties. Like if you hear them, it's probably the original. And I thought it was interesting that Baloo is not. Like obviously you're probably not going to get Bill Murray, but maybe the guy from not Jungle Book, Tailspin, John Goodman. He did it in Jungle Book too. It's interesting that it's like not even close, and they even acknowledge like, oh yeah, Baloo was on the Toon Disney block with me, and now he got that reboot money.
Yeah,
he was on the Disney Afternoon, and the Coca-Cola bear who walks by is like, oh my god, can I touch your face? I can't believe it. I'm such a huge fan.
What's happening now?
I like I like the acknowledgement of Tailspin being a weird Jungle Book spinoff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I liked
the person who voiced him in a video game back in the year 2000.
Wow.
He's been on other Disney stuff since then, like House of Mouse and some other like smaller stuff. But he's like a musician, voice actor guy.
Nice.
There you go. So he's voiced him at least once.
22
He did
years
it.
ago.
Those sons of bitches did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a lot of great animation pull references. I mean, we could sit here and go through all of them. They're all
let's do it.
It's definitely one of the like
entertaining.
It's very much a YouTube video. Here's all the references you missed video.
Yeah.
But like this isn't like, I feel like, again, like I hate to keep shitting on Ready Player One, but like there it's like, well, there's the thing, like this one, it's like you are living in a world full of cartoons and real men. Like who did they choose to be in this movie?
This is what Space Jam 2.
This is exactly like Space Jam Legacy. That's exactly what I like a lot of the world was thinking. Like this is like the best possible version of the cynical IP grab of everything being in something. But like I think they're trying to tell a story here that like that works, that you need like having all these characters make sense to, because bad things can happen to them and you see what happens to some of these characters.
Like where's I mean, I know we like going when I say that Ready Player One does it okay, but also doesn't do the references and the constant references, is that they're trying to use the references to help solve a puzzle and to do story, and it's like it's also like a huge
Not
like,
always.
Yeah, exactly. Not always. But what I love about this one more is that this is just part of the world. You can literally walk down the street and see the mom from Phineas and Ferb selling flowers. You just walk down. You can literally walk down the actual Hollywood Walk of Fame and see the star for Squidward, Chung-Li, and Samurai Jack.
Oh, I miss Squidward. Oh.
Yeah, it's when Dale was walking. It was when Dale was walking out. If you left money.
Wait, hold on. Fast and Furious babies.
Yeah,
that was great. Whereas. Because in Ready Player One, it was set in like a virtual world where, I mean, yeah, sure, anything can happen. But whereas in this one, it's just like, this is just the world we live in. This is reality. And for some reason, I don't know why, but the Chippendale Rescue Rangers works more for me than it does for Ready Player One, even though it should work more in Ready Player One because that's a video game. You can do whatever the hell you want in the video game.
Well, it works here because it's creating an alternate reality where they not only live in the world, but they are the things that they are part of the industry that defines what Hollywood does. Yeah. Like in this world, like because tunes are real living things that they can just film, they are more marketable. So there's a lot more properties and uses of them. And so like everything is so IP driven. Like you could say that about our world, but like that's why we see so many billboards like Fast and Furious Babies, is that like things are so dominated by just milking IP.
I mean, that's what this whole movie is kind of about. It's about reboots. It's about repurposing things for other things, and like this is
bootlegging them just to make a quick buck.
Exactly. Yeah.
Batman versus ET one that got me.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I really think that. Oh shoot! What the fuck? Whatever. I'll move on. The set design is really cool.
Yeah.
There's a lot of miniature sets that they film, and you can tell that they're real sets.
Oh, it's so many good gags with that. Oh my god,
they do a very good job of thinking about the actual scale for characters.
Yeah, like we're like when they I don't remember what happens. They go to like an apartment complex, and then there's the lady cop outside where she's like, "Hey guys."
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it was after
you've been in the scene for a while, so you've forgotten.
So one of our movies was like, "I forgot the scale was this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you talked about. I'm sorry, Sparkz. You talked about the alternate reality. That's you can tell if you know enough about Chippendale Rescue Rangers. You know it didn't last after 90. It was canceled in 1990, and in here their biggest year was 1991.
Right.
So like these things went longer. People have different things on the TV because of how different the world is. Like it was really well thought of with like all the scale and things that we talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it does a good job of trying to realize a world where these characters live, what they're doing, and all that. I think the bootlegging idea of the story is cool, especially because of like the weird animation gags you get out of it and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The plot with Peter Pan it's not bad. I want to say it's like undercooked.
Yeah. Because I didn't hate it, but it definitely, I'll tell you what, the first half of the movie, I think it's considerably better than the last half of the movie.
Yeah.
Once the actual plot with Peter comes in, I think it's a little, and they even write the joke of it. It becomes kind of formulaic. Where like you kind of know what's going on, even with the cop.
Well, yeah, because the cop, when the cop turns, is like, yeah, I mean, of course they expected it.
Yeah, which I do love. He is really having fun as evil Gumby man.
Right.
Yeah, like the Peter Pan plot itself, I like the idea. It's one of those situations where I would want them to go more in depth of what it's doing, because the story behind it and all that stuff, but it kind of has to be surface level for the movie they're making.
Yes.
So I think it does a good enough job of like what the thread is, but like the movie does lessen once that becomes the main central theme of it.
Yeah,
as opposed to just the two guys doing
it turns
stuff.
from like really great to serviceable. I feel like I'm repeating some of what I said last week on Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, but it very much is like, you've got a really good thing going, and I question whether or not we needed the kidnapping storyline.
Oh yeah. The drama needed to be added. We need an extra. Yeah.
I question how important that was, or if we could have just done a story where like they encounter Peter Pan and Peter Pan's story is still what it is.
Yeah.
And like their representation of how they think about each other and how they think about themselves inside the industry can still be part of the story, but you don't need to do the kidnapping stuff.
I wonder if maybe if Peter had like, I don't want to say a redemption arc, but I don't know what I would need for his character to be elevated more, because he's kind of just like I'm the villain, and like I do like his backstory.
Yeah.
But there is just something missing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is though.
There's a beat that I really like in this movie where it ties back to like the beginning, where he's like, no, you're one banana, I'm one banana, we're two bananas, and it goes back to, is like, I wanted you to tell me not to take. Then he was talking about Double a Dale. It's like, I wanted you to tell me not to go, and you didn't.
Oh, yeah. The final like speech.
I wanted you to tell me you needed me.
Yeah.
That's the theme of the movie. I think that comes off really well, and I like that character journey that they go on.
Absolutely. I think the final interaction, like when one of them is like, like the other thinks they're dead, and he's giving the speech of like, oh, I did need you and blah blah blah. I think that's a really well written, well acted scene, like for this movie. I think like it did the emotional weight that like it was trying to convey for me. But I knew, like, of course, he was going to wake up, because not going to.
Like this when the sentient knockoff Bullet Bill hits Dale.
Ow!
I was like, and then it's. I mean, obviously Dale's fine. It's like, that pug smashed my nose. It's like, dude, you didn't have a nose, but
Fat Cat, is that the? Mm-hmm. I love the amalgam Fat Cat design. The Starscream leg or whatever, the wrecking.
Well, it's an Optimus leg, because you can tell it's the tires.
Yeah.
And then like the ready I'm gonna wreck it. He actually does the line.
Ralph's left arm. I thought it was a Treasure Planet reference with the right arm until the bullet came out, and I'm like, now I just don't know.
Yeah.
The right leg was Woody's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Shredder's, one of Shredder's armor pauldrons on his shoulder guards,
and the Jurassic Park sash.
Oh my god, yeah, so cute, very cute.
I cannot tell you how many times I was laughing throughout this movie, and how every time I'm actually really glad I saw this in my living room, because when Fanny and I were watching this, we were constantly pointing. I was like, "Oh hey, look!" Like earlier, we talked. Like, I know we were going back to like all the things and the references we got, but we were just cackling when we saw Senator Butthead.
Sure.
Yeah. Here's the thing: like, it's not just, again, like Ready Player One. Master Chief is just there. That's not cool to me. Showing me Butthead in this universe is running for senator. That's funny.
Right.
That's doing something with it.
It's a world that they live in, and you're playing off of something. Even like when you do the things like the Smash Brothers billboard, that there was a game.
Oh yeah, like
that was Smash Brothers,
Friday night,
all the Disney afternoon cartoons. Like that still tells me something about those appearances, rather than just being like, there's the thing. It's like, oh, they made like a video game in this world out of all these characters. That's cool.
I saw there's a poster of Dobby, and he's in Gucci. I saw it on Twitter because I didn't catch it quick enough, but it's Gucci Dobby, and I'm like, Jesus, it's so dumb.
No, one of the other scenes, one of the things I really loved about this movie, because when you go into, like, you're in Uncanny Valley, and then you go into Main Street, and it's obviously a rip of Main Street from Disneyland, but we're not in Disneyland. Yeah. And then Dale is telling us like, oh yeah, she does Muppet fights. That guy does this for the mob. And then you get to the cheese store, and the second they say stinky cheese,
got the cheddar, we got the. What do you want?
What do you want?
It's like, you guys cops. Keegan Michael. Yeah, what got me was the eyebrows on the Muppet. It was like, we have the Gouda, we have the Brie. It's like, do you have any sticky cheese?
I have to be honest. There was a part of me that I'm like, why wasn't this just Swedish Chef?
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
good point.
Like I'm like, it's clearly like a parody of Swedish Chef. You own Swedish Chef. Why wasn't this just Swedish Chef? And then when Swedish Chef gets serious, it turns into Keegan-Michael Key's voice.
Yeah.
I'm like, that would have been a great gag.
That would have been a great gag. Actually, yeah, I kind of wish it was Swedish Chef. What the hell? But I mean, just the whole Muppet scene, and then you go downstairs to the dungeon with the cheese, the mice who are high on cheese.
A sock puppet shows up out of nowhere with the police. I'm like, this movie's funny. This movie's funny. All right.
Great side gags, great cameos, great references.
What was it when Peppa Pig went into the Nick Jr.? It was a massacre.
Paw Patrol.
Oh my god!
Paw Patrol attacked the sergeants.
There's a blink and you miss it. Patrick stars one of the tunes that gets out at the end on the boat. Aunt Man.
Oh yeah, Paul.
Man.
Rudd. Always a delight.
You know, it was originally supposed to be Aunt Man, and my superpower was going to be I was really great with aunts. I can't believe they changed it.
He could still be that way, man.
Yeah, I just feel like there was some element to the story that was missing.
Yeah, not. I'm very positive on it, but like it's also like very surface. I think it's a very fun movie to watch. Like I don't think I'm going to be watching this all the time or anything.
There were definitely times where I thought the actor I love the actress who plays Ellie. And I do kind of like how it's like a double. It's like, oh, you think she's the bad guy when they talk about Albany and how Albany Rangers never aired, and then it turns out it was the captain who was the bad guy the whole time.
I do like that fun misdirect, even though you kind of see it coming, but it's like we're playing into it. Like
but I don't know. There are times I felt like Ellie's deliveries weren't the best.
I feel that was on purpose. I feel like she's playing in the kids movie, she's like the helper person, and like she's supposed to be kind of like, what's the word, like naive, because specifically there's a point where like she's talking to Chippendale and he's like, oh, you watch all the shows, and she's like, no, I had my mom mail them all to me, grandma, and like that sounds suspicious. I think she's supposed to sound that way on purpose, but also that could be me just thinking.
Well, she is because Dale calls it out pretty quickly after that. He's like, I don't think she's on the up and up, because we're supposed to believe
Chip.
We're supposed to be with the Chip. We're supposed to be with the main character on this decision.
So I think it's deliberate, but I understand like the thinking like, oh, her line delivery is off, but I do think it's on purpose.
Yeah.
Well, there's even other times like when they were going through the CGI machine and then she was like talking to him. I don't know. There are just times there where it just felt a little, but I still really do enjoy her, especially like when she's the cop and she leans down and she goes, "Hi." It's like, okay, you know she's a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to do one of these laughs with you. How long does it last? Way too long. The worse the joke, the harder the laugh.
Yeah. Freaking Gadget was working on like a Dom Toretto style car. And then when we finally hear Zipper's voice and it's the Allstate guy, it's like, that's great.
I really liked Gadget's inclusion. And I was really happy when it was like it's the original voice actress. She's also Dot in Animaniacs.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I couldn't do that.
Yeah, and so just I like it when they pay respect to like the voice cast of these things, and that was good to be certain that you did that. Yeah, those drunkies, man. They're not drunkies. What? Flight? No.
What is she?
She's a rat, right? No, she's a mouse.
Flice.
Is she a hamster?
I don't know what anything is anymore.
I don't know. All I know is that her.
What's Chippendale? She's a chipmunk.
Is she?
No, she's.
Well, Monterey Jack is a mouse.
Okay, so she's a mouse too. Oh well, it doesn't matter.
Let me think. Anything else? I think this movie is really fun. It's a PG kids movie, but I'll be honest, I don't know any 9-year-old who can get a lot of enjoyment out of this movie. I don't think, because it is super reference heavy for things none of them were even born for, especially Chippendale. So I'm curious who the market for this movie actually is, because it's kind of us. It's kind of us, not kids.
Well, there was a popular Chippendale series not too long ago, but this isn't a continuation of that. This is Rescue Rangers. Like, this is a very specific 90s reference that, well, honestly, only we would get.
Yeah. I just found it interesting because, like, again, like I was worried it would be like those other movies, but it's not. But it's also not for that audience then either, because it's kind of more for like nerds more than anything.
I agree.
We'll always have Ugly Sonic. Do you want to rate it?
I will give it
Ugly Sonic, man.
Made the movie better. 100% made the movie better. I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna give it a solid 8. I think it's a good, fun, solid movie that I probably will never watch again.
Sparkz?
I go with a 7. I have a really, again, like through no fault of necessarily the people behind the film, but like I have just a hard time getting past the animation. That does hurt it for me.
Benji?
Oh, I give it an 8.5. I was cackling through this movie. I was enjoying it. I was having an absolute blast. I enjoyed the plot. I enjoyed the characters, and you can tell all the actors were having a blast doing either their voice or live action. They were having fun. So I would definitely give this an 8.5.
Coca-Cola Bear.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8. That's the Coca-Cola Bear. Thank you. Couldn't place that.
They couldn't get the Coke logo, but he got that vest on.
Yeah. Yeah, I give it a solid 8. I think it's a solid 8. Like it's just you're not going to regret watching it. It's just a good time. It's fun. It's got some fun references. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
All right, shall we book club it up?